Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Zwift Community Live broadcast of the Chase Race powered by WTRL Auto Cat. We're out on Zwift's Magnificent 8 for 29 kilometers. It's going to be one lap. Magnificent 8, you know, this course, one little bump in it that may cause the riders a little bit of a struggle when it comes to the lower categories. It's the one place I'm thinking there is a little bit of advantage to the A and E categories out there today. Anna Russell next to me, Nathan Guerra here. So, Anna, what do you think? You've had some really good predictions the last couple of weeks. That's kind of been your, I don't know, your whiteboard seems to be paying off. And the eggplants have not been winning, it seems. So what's the prediction out here today?
I've actually got my whiteboard pen in my hand. I was busily writing some stuff down before we got going. But yeah, I'm wearing my blue top for the C's today. So I'm going to go for the C's. I know we've been talking a bit about the aubergines, the E-cats, and I think we've also got the A's out there, the capsicums, I'm going to call them, because I'm pretty sure, do you know what a capsicum is?
I have no idea what that is either, actually, to be honest.
Great.
So, great.
I was actually Googling last night vegetables that sound different in America. Goodness. So we'll go with the A capsicums. I actually noticed
the peppers, the green, red, and yellow peppers.
Yep, the capsicums. So it looks like we've got no E-cat. It looks like the E's have been rolled into the A's, which will make it way more tight, I think, with the A's coming pretty fast. I've seen we've got Kristen Kulczynski out there as well as Catherine Curie. A few little pro jerseys that I've seen by some names. So A's are going to give the C's a run for their money, but I'm going to go with the C's.
If they've been rolled in together, I have to take a look and see what kind of numbers that we actually have in there for that category. A category is looking kind of stacked out there today. Prediction here, I'm going to throw it to the A's out there today. I want to see the A's take this down. We'll see what ends up happening. The D's are already out on course. They are pretty excited, it looks like, here, and cheering each other on. Let's go ahead and jump down out on course here. They're 5 minutes in to their race so far. 3.5 kilometers have been covered, it looks like. So solid race so far from them. One of these riders here coming out of Australia on the hand cycle, actually, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I just noticed him actually in the start pins before as I was having a look, an Australian para-triathlete. I did think his name seemed a bit familiar just from the tri world. So, yeah, he has actually been in the Paralympic team in 2016. So, yeah, pretty amazing. He's had a lot of triathlon world championship medals, actually a lot, from all the way from 2011 up through to 2015. We actually raced at a few races together, which is good. 2010 in Budapest, looks like Gold Coast in 2009, Chicago 2015. Pretty amazing. So he's on a hand cycle and racing here with the D-Cat. So huge shout out here to Bill Chafee. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, Bill Chafee, Australian para triathlete, tons of golds underneath his name. So got some royalty when it comes to hand cycles here, hanging out with the D category. Going to give some extra watts here. 156 beats per minute right now. It looks like as they travel at 41 kilometers per hour. Always interesting to see the difference in speed and get an idea at each section of the course what that's like. We'll be jumping in with the B category in a minute 37 from now. They are going to be taking off from the pens momentarily, as you can see them hanging out here in the pens, waiting for their turn to go amongst the A's as well. It does look like the B category, again, is most likely our largest category out there today.
Yeah, it looks like the B's have almost 200 riders. The A's around 64, but there's only 1 minute between them. And with some of those E's now with the A's, I think that group could chase down the B's. The C's actually, look, they have a smaller group than the B's this time around, just over 100, but they've got a 5 minute gap to the B's. So there's a big gap between C and B, and then only a minute between B and A. So The C's will be hoping that the A's don't catch the B's, because then they're going to swell that group to sort of over 250, and then they will be absolutely crushing this course. But yeah, we can see there the D's, they're just heading up over that dirt rise into the Italian villages. That is going to be a really tricky part of the course, because it, one, slows you down, and it kind of depends what bike you've got there as well as to how much you've slowed down. It is a little sort of tricky climb that can really drag things out, and if you don't get back on terms, you sort of hit that Watopia reverse KOM pretty quickly, and you could get dropped off the back, which you're just seeing a few riders sort of struggling to stay on terms there.
Yeah, this is going to be these spots going to be very difficult for the D and C category, because I do think there will be some pretty big disparity between some of the riders in that category in order to stick together. B category taking off like a rocket now, as we can see here in the right-hand side of the screen. Plenty of bodies here to keep this speed as high as possible. With only a 1 minute difference, though, Ace, if you find yourself on the front, you need to push hard until someone overtakes you. A little bit of coaching going on here, which is going to be needed. I think a lot of times you end up with a little bit of, I would say, a struggle between some of the athletes out here is what they should be doing at any moment, you know, between each other. And some people soft pedaling through on the front. Do see Kristen Armstrong, lots of gold medals represented out here. You know, today, not in the D category, the B category. I mean, this is pretty amazing to see the kind of quality of field that we have showing up out here.
It kind of always shocks me to see an Olympic gold medalist, multiple Olympic gold medalists, auto-catted to the B. You know, Olympic time trial champ. I would be a bit stressed out there riding along with Kristen Armstrong next to me going, whew, this is not going to be an easy ride today. And you can already see this does not look easy. I mean, they're going up a 2% grade at, you know, 44, 43 kilometers an hour. They're in that nice little arrowhead position. I already saw a few little bees kind of drop off the back with the pace set at the start. So yeah, this has been pretty phenomenal. And yeah, like we said, I've seen a few pro jerseys hanging around the ACAT as well. So there's some definite hitters who have turned up to see if they can take it out. I think that A category, they want to win it. Every week it's been the B's or the C's, and I think, or a rogue D. But I think, yeah, they're in it. I think they want to take it today.
We'll have to see. It's a 1 minute head start, which means they will be jumping out on course at this moment. We'll get some comparisons of what kind of speeds are being held between the different categories as they head out onto Magnificent 8. Again, it is 29 kilometers in total out here today. Make sure to jump out and chat with us. Let us know what you think, who you think is going to be the winners out there today, as well as any shout outs to any of the riders that you are out here watching. Make sure to throw that in chat. Cheer on your favorite riders out there, as well as let's hear your predictions for the category. I do see out there Ian Longhorn saying that he is carving up for the Zwift Racing League. I think that's essentially what has been happening for the last month over the holidays here. So as great to see everybody hanging out in chat. A lot of chatter, it looks like, coming through for the D category, cheering them on. But Ian says B's, he'd say for today. You know, it's always a good bet to go after the B's, it feels like, with the amount of riders that they tend to have. 123 riders out here, with the way that the packs interact, as well as the reality of a lot of these B category riders can push a pretty solid watt per kilogram on the front for a quick little turn. And having that depth of field with those little punches on the front, it does put them at a pretty good advantage.
Yeah, they've always, and I think that's where we're looking at these time gaps with their little tweaking today, is that the C's are a little bit closer to the D's and the B's are a lot further away from the C's. So I think it's still a lot to pull in 5 minutes over predominantly, other than, you know, a couple of little bumps, flat course that's, you know, around 29, 30 kilometers. 5 minutes is a lot. So these guys do still have a lot of work to do. They can't just survive with, you know, sitting in the pack and just hoping that their group numbers can make it through, because they're going to still have to push. And I think when you've got the likes of Kristen Armstrong in there, you're going to have some people who are motivated to push. I'm not seeing a whole lot of chat coming from the B's, though, which is always slightly concerning. I don't know if they've got a sort of you know, de facto team leader in there this time. Maybe they're busy sort of getting through their Christmas leftovers. But yeah, they need someone to sort of rally the troops here as well, make sure that they stay on point. Got a couple of people just sort of leading off the front, which isn't great. I'm actually seeing Kristen Kolchinsky has been auto-cadded to this B group as well. That makes me feel okay. I got auto-cadded to this B group too because I wanted to just have some eyes on a bit of the racing as well. I feel pretty happy with that. Same auto-cad as Kristen Kolchinsky and Kristen Armstrong. Can't complain.
Yeah, it's some superstars here. It looks like 2024 rider here jumping in. Kristen Kolchinsky, one of the top, obviously ranked Premier Division riders. It's made a huge splash this last couple of years, a year and a half or so, in getting into this scene. So, going to be somebody who really likes to work, especially when it comes to the climbs. I would not be surprised if she's definitely pushing the pace off the front when they do head uphill, as they will be hitting that reverse KOM, Queen of the Mountain, in just a few minutes here for this B category. We're going to try and find the A's out on course and see where they're at, whether or not they're able to bring back any of this time yet. 3.8 kilometers in for the B category right now. As we move around, I am seeing Stuart Featherstone hanging out in the chat, letting us know that he's hanging with the bees, and it's a fast pace so far. No wonder there's so many check marks out here.
So I just saw a bit of chat pop up on screen, which I think was from the A's, saying 35-second to the B's. So that is, yeah, really close. They've pulled in, if that's correct, they've pulled in 25 seconds in just over 4 kilometers. So I do think those A's, if they continue at that sort of pace, they're going to catch on to this B group pretty quickly. I would say within the next 10 kilometers, and then they're going to be riding the last 15. I just saw chat coming up too from Paolo, I think it is, and he is a rider that we've been seeing in the Legions of LA Crit Series. I know he won one of the races, so that is someone who's got some serious firepower in there as well. So yeah, the A's, I reckon it's been a great move there to join up the A's and the E's. I think it's just made them just that much quicker, and I'm not seeing Kirchner out there. He's usually the one who sort of takes on that leadership role. Not sure if he's with the crew, but Paolo there, you can see, let's go champs. I think he's picked up the mantle that Kirchner may have left behind.
And looking at this, seems to be a 2024 training ride a little bit here, because I do know that Kristen Armstrong does work with them a little bit, as well as obviously Kristen Kolchinsky riding for them. We also have Naomi Day Pennington here, also riding for the 2024 team. In at least on Zwift Power listed as that, so good to see her coming out of Great Britain, making her way to the front. So a lot of the top women actually being invited to this B category here, it looks like. That's going to put some firepower again into this category. But I think, as you were saying, the A's are going to be really having a boost this week. As you know, the last couple of weeks we've seen it over and over again, like a minute 30, even up to 6 minutes back for the E category. So I think it's a good thing. Oh, and we're seeing a dropout here from Kristen Armstrong. Too bad to see.
Oh.
She's now going to be off the back, and they're going to lose some of that TT firepower off the front of this group now because of that. We do see Romy here from SGAB out of Germany to 180 beats per minute, trying to press the pace for the pack and get them to come over the top here as quickly as they possibly can. Great spot to gain some time, but they are stringing it out a tad. Going to need those bodies on the other side of the reverse King of the Mountain, as that downhill with 100 riders can really speed things up into almost 80 kilometers per hour. And we've seen it in the Bologna TTT last week. Did you see that? The difference when one rider would go off the back and a rider was on, and a group was off the front of just 4 riders, you had a difference of 10 kilometers per hour on a sharp descent like that.
Oh.
With this many riders, I mean, that's 10 seconds lost in a matter of meters,
Yeah.
you know, so something similar here if they're able to bring these bodies over the top. At the same time, it's that fine line of you can lose 10 seconds as well waiting up for anybody in this pack.
Yeah, I mean, has something happened in the draft dynamics for downhill specifically? Because I did a race yesterday, and for the first time in my life, I dropped someone on the downhill. And I mean, very quickly they were off my wheel, didn't get back on, and then that led to about 12 seconds at the bottom of the hill. So something feels slightly different. I don't know. Maybe someone can let me know if something has changed in the downhills. But yeah, I found that really interesting. I also fixed my trainer lag, which meant that I could get in the super tuck, so it could have been that. But yeah, it's something feels like Slightly interesting. I'm trying to get a little bit of racecraft backs with ZRL starting not too far away, scarily enough. But yeah, I didn't watch the Bologna TTT last week because I'm all set to go and entered for the Alpe d'Huez TTT tomorrow, which I just saw a little bit of chat on it, and I am just starting to feel a bit nervous about it now. You know, you start off saying it's going to be a sort of fun team New Year's Eve ride, and then you know as soon as you hit it, it's going to be full noise racing. And yeah, that's quite a hard climb to be TTTing up. But whew, yeah, I am actually. You were following someone just before, Nathan, called Pennington, and I've just seen that she's a. She had a little tick next to her name. Comes from Great Britain. Cycles in a lot of time trials, rides for the Banbury Star Cyclist Club over in Great Britain, but is a equine veterinary surgeon. Interesting, whoa, right? Yeah.
Horses.
I didn't know that was a role. Yeah, horses. So a surgeon for horses.
That's awesome. That's actually, yeah, that's pretty amazing. Very specialized as well.
I know.
Very, very specialized job. Pretty cool to hear. 5.43 watts per kilogram coming from her at this moment, as they are going to most likely blow this up at the front. As I believe if we go to the front, I would not be surprised if we saw her teammate pressing the pace up here. Foreman, it looks like here. Yep, and Kolchinski mixing up with the boys here. 7.4 watts per kilogram right now. Gee. Bauer coming over the top. We see feather power-ups being blown. Now up into 8 watts per kilogram from Kolchinski in this B category. And this is going to be the make it or break it moment for most of this pack. But I think this is the thing to do. This is the most time that can be gained in this chase race today for this B category.
Oh, that is insane. Those numbers are killer. And yeah, they flatten off on this bit here, and then it kind of hits into a long drag up to the finish line. So they can settle in a little bit more. They don't want to completely destroy the pack. So I'm not sure hitting sort of 8 watts per kg was a great idea, because you can see just how strung out it is now. I mean, they started with over 200 riders, or close to 200. And now, we can see the A's are just catching up to the back tail end of these Bs. So there's about 13 seconds between the front of the Bs and the group at the back of the Bs, and the A's are just starting to roll on through that back group, and they are coming at a very, very fast pace. Paolo there, the Crit Series champion for one of the races, he is leading this group very well, sitting off the front. PF Cancer team with the grey dreads actually coming through, and he is humping through these B riders. They look well organized. I think the A's, the Capsicums, I think they've got it tonight, Nathan.
They're absolutely. Look at that train of Tron bikes coming behind. It looks like Christmas lights actually chasing down this B pack. If we look behind here, that A category is absolutely hauling. And the question is over the top here. Now the question is, they're going to catch the B category. What happens when they get caught? How many are going to be able to hang on here? And, the front end of this B category today does seem very quick. Maybe just not having the numbers. And I think it's only going to stoke the fire, at the front end of this B category with the A's. And you could have a pretty interesting situation between the two categories catching up to the C's and the D's. And this early of a catch with those extra B riders, I think you're right. This is really going to be a day for the A's.
And the thing about the A's is, if you look at them, they've all stayed in one solid group. Like, they're just mowing through all tight together. Those B's, they just strung. There was way too much power being put down on that climb, and it strung everyone out. And now it's just meant this A's, they're going to probably be able to catch on the downhill, because the B's are so separate that they can't get that kind of group momentum. Whereas these A's, I mean, you're looking at a nice solid group here. It looks like about 40 to 50 riders. They're just going to hum along, get into some super tucks, have the group momentum on that really steep downhill before they head into the desert where it flattens off. And yeah, this is looking really good. So congrats to the A's. They have come with some firepower, and they are looking dominant.
Jumping on over to the C category as well, we do see Pelly here coming out of Australia, 166 beats per minute as they head on into the Fuego Flats section. Looking to chase down that D category. D category are a little ways ahead of them yet, though. 132 still. C category on the struggle today, actually, I think. 132, pretty good gap. Opened up still. It does look like they're shutting things down a little bit. If we compare the speeds between this C category and the Ds that are up ahead, it does look like 41 kilometers per hour here on the flats, 0% gradient here. And it does look toward the front here, -1%, only at 38 or so, and not a lot of riders up here. I do think that this D category, there's just a little, there's just not enough bodies out here, not enough firepower. They've really got it cut out for them at this point, with only, it looks like, I want to say 15 riders left with this pack or so.
Yeah, that's not looking great. They look really spread out across the road as well. It doesn't look like the pace is on 36k an hour. I mean, the C's started 4 minutes behind the D's, and they're about a minute and a half behind now. So they've pulled in a lot of time. But I mean, the A's, they started 10 minutes behind the D's. So they've still got to pull in a lot. But looking at the A's, they're sitting around 10.5 kilometers. The D's about 4 kilometers ahead, 30k race. I mean, I think the A's are still looking pretty good for the win here, even with that big gap
4
still
kilometers
to go
is
to
a
the
lot
D's.
of space. I mean, that's a lot to cover here. But look at the speeds. 62 kilometers per hour right now compared to 40 on the flat over there. And that A category is going to carry that 60 kilometers per hour for quite some time here as they push toward the front. They already see up ahead of here one of the struggling packs. It is a pack that has broken off of that front group in the B category. But again, they are really well organized. Look at everybody communicating in this A category. Lots of chatter going on. I think that is part of it as well. They've really shown up to race out here today as a cat. As in weeks prior, I'm not sure that they've been perhaps this organized with their speeds at the front.
Yeah, it's they're looking really good. And what I saw is a lot of chat going on the downhill saying, don't get in the super tuck, keep pedaling, keep the speed high. So they weren't even allowing any recovery in super tuck. They were just saying, press on, press on, press on. And that's pretty intense. I mean, I know from trying one of these races where I got dropped, this is just all in from the start. And I think a lot of people have been looking forward to that little bit of recovery, but nope, they pushed on through, and it looks like they're just catching up to another sort of tail end of the B's. Is that the B main category just in front? I think it is. Looked like it was just about 10 seconds ahead. They're going to hit this sort of drag into the desert. It goes up to that sort of 2-3% grade for a little while. Really makes the legs burn, I've got to say. But I think this is where the A's will start to pull in a ton of time. That B group at the front is just not big enough. You can see it's just quite a few Bs who have jumped on in with this mowing down A group, which is great as well. It's swelled their numbers for the flat area of the course, which is perfect. So looking really, really good here.
Looks amazing here with the A category coming over the top. They're about to go past that sign. As you can see in the left-hand side, the sign to turn off to the dinosaur land with the redwoods over there. But they're not going to be heading that way. But it does a good marker for us to see exactly the comparison between the two categories. Interesting enough, you don't quite see them just yet. All of a sudden, there's going to be in the background there a whole bunch of trombites coming on through. They have picked up a bunch of B category riders. 45 kilometers per hour versus 44, though. So the B category is staying pretty steady. And it's actually slowing down the A cat. Look, they're matching speeds now. Interesting enough. Now up to 46. As you can see, I think there's a little bit of extra motivation here from this B category to not quite get caught, to go all in at this moment and say, catch me if you can. Got to close those last few meters.
13 seconds, it looks like, that the A's are now down to the B's. So they've pulled in 45 seconds over 13 kilometers. Looks like about 200 meters on the road. Now, what will be interesting is how many of these B's now that they're kind of on the flat terrain will just jump in with these A's. That's going to swell this group to 200, close to 300, I think. Well, with a few dropped riders, maybe more close to 200. Yeah, and then then the chase is on to get to those C's, which were a good 4 minutes ahead. Still looking okay. Had a lot of road between these guys. So the C's are still in it. I think the D's will get caught, but the C's, I am wearing my blue T-shirt. They're still in it. It's going to be a matter of whether they've got enough tarmac, because they definitely won't have the speed or the momentum, but they could still have a bit of road on their side.
I'm getting some chatter coming on through. Appreciate the comments. Answering your question, we'll see. Perhaps this is an opinion coming in from Dan Pendroza saying something is different with the downhill draft. I super tucked last night, but didn't get back on power right away when it leveled out and almost got dropped. It usually pulls me along for a bit, making the transition easier. You know, and I wonder if that has something to do with the new pack dynamics because of the way avatars push past each other with speed.
Mm.
And perhaps you have to give a little bit of something to grab a draft again. I'm not positive. I would assume it would have more to do with pack dynamics 3.0 rather than anything actually changing on the downhill specifically. It's more, I think, the pack dynamics as a whole have changed, which then have changed the way that downhills interact within a pack. I would assume that would be what's happening there.
Yeah, there was definitely something. I can never quite put my finger on it, especially when your heart rate's, you know, up around the 180s. But yeah, there was something slightly different. So I'm going to keep doing some testing, get out there, and I'll keep doing some racing so we're all prepped. There has been a lot of changes in the bike dynamics. So if you're getting ready for Zwift Racing League, make sure you go check out Zwift Insider because there's been some changes. You need to go check it out.
I heard about the Cervelo. The Cervelo had a little bit. I don't know, like you want to be cool and then cool ends up biting you because it might not be the most popular bike anymore. So anyways, we'll just leave that for, go read the article over on Zwift Insider. But looking here, interesting enough, the A category is slowing down to 4.1 watts per kilogram, while the B category sped up to 50 kilometers per hour. And I saw 6 watts per kilogram off the front from Helm here. They are not giving up the ghost. They just obviously went by the same exact section of course. There's only 200 meters between the two categories, but the B category has actually sped up while the A category has slowed down.
Yeah, so it went from 13 seconds, is now up to 22 seconds. So they've pulled in 7 seconds pretty quick, or pulled out 7 seconds. I saw then again Paolo putting down some notes for everyone. It was saying drop all your power-ups right before that banner, just to start getting a bit of momentum going. And it did help a bit. I mean, they are riding a little bit quicker now, 49 versus 47. So I think they just can't rest on their laurels here. And they also, what we've seen in the past weeks, Nathan, is that they're so focused on catching the Bs, and then they catch the Bs and they all have a breather and the Cs extend their lead. So the groups ahead, they kind of forget that they've still got Cs and Ds ahead. I know that they've like got the Bs in sight, but they can't lose sight of the fact that there are still groups up the road and they can't just chill out here. You know, they've really got to keep the work on, keep it going hard, because this is about the chase right to the line, not just chasing the category ahead.
And as we can see here, you know, there might be a little bit of infighting here, but we actually have the rider now finally giving a little bit of a kick at the front here. G. Daly here from the COPZ coming out of the UK. Quentin here from the Riders now 5.1 toward the front, as well as Andre there from the F Cancer team. A little bit of encouragement there coming from the A category, trying to get them to keep it moving here. Still, that 200 meters is holding steady. Now, it does look like the B category, though, slowing down just a tad and getting that extra momentum. But we've got other categories out here that are racing, and if they don't start moving, they are going to be only catching this B category perhaps and giving up the race to the categories up ahead.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like the C's have reined in over 3 minutes now, just less than a minute to go between them and the D's, which could happen when we start to hit those uphills out of the desert. That's where a lot of time will sort of come down, I think. But I mean, it's looking like it's still over 2 minutes now between the B's and the C's, which is a lot. Now we've hit over the halfway point of this race. So yeah, there's a lot of tarmac still to go for the B's to be catching these C's. And it's good to see that they're sort of upping the pace a bit more. They're getting a bit nervous about the A's catching. But look at that difference again, 46 to 48 on this flat terrain. So the A's are still going a lot faster, back down again to 16 seconds. So it was up to 22. Now it's to 16. I think the A's are, you know, we can see Paolo hitting the front. He's from that F Cancer team. He is really taking control of this race, and he is pushing and putting in the work, leading by example, which I like to see. I always hate it when someone's telling you to work harder. They're sitting in the draft at the back, and he is pushing off the front of that A group. So yeah, he's marshalling the troops. They want to make that catch pretty soon. As we see the C's on the left-hand side, Not looking too bad. 42k an hour in that nice arrowhead formation. They're pushing. They haven't lost motivation.
43 kilometers per hour right now, even coming at the front here from Miner and the DBR team. Fedden's there as well. Eigner from the Vision team. Heights there from Zed Sun. All kind of doing a little bit of rotation here. Some communication going on through them. 30 seconds up to this D category. They're at 20 kilometers in. 18.1 with the A category. So still 2 kilometers to cover to make up, between these two categories. And with the catch of the D category, as they will be leaving the Tempest Fugit, heading toward Titans Grove, but then the left-hand turn away from that. There's not a whole lot of landscape after that. It's just a little bit of a turnaround heading back toward the finish line over at the piers. So it'd be interesting to see perhaps the C's and D's here can make a hold. The B category, though, about to be caught. This is going to be the actual catch. We thought it was going to happen earlier on this flat Tempest Fugit, but it wasn't to be so until they get through this little Oasis section. That little push that you were talking about there from the F Cancer team looks to have really made that gap up almost. It's only about 50 meters.
Oh, yeah, and they can see them already. They're seeing them around these corners. As soon as you see them just ahead, it's just that extra motivation. You can see they're pushing 49k an hour. They are humming through. And, yeah, I think this is where the Bees will kind of realize they're probably going to get caught. Maybe they should, ease off a little bit and then try and just up the tempo when the A's come by to jump on the back. So take a little bit of recovery now and then push through. But, yeah, this is down to 6 seconds. So we're going to be having a catch very, very quickly. Paolo again on the lead, 6.2 watts per kg. He is just a machine. I mean, I know he's got a really good sprint. So this is, if they can catch the C's and the D's as well, Paolo could be someone you're looking at to take the win, overall win in today's race. But here we go. Look, there's a few little C's and D's that they'll just trickle past here. And look at that. How close is that? Almost reach out and touch them. A bit of speed has come out of these guys. They're just sort of spread out across the road here. You can just tell with these new draft dynamics when the speed has really come off. A's here. What do you think they'll do? Do you think they'll kind of merge in, or they'll just keep pushing pace and, if you're a B, you can jump on, good on you, but if you can't, see you later?
Usually I'd say they would just make the catch and pull right on through. The way that they're riding, though, it doesn't feel that way, honestly. It feels like they're going to make the catch and sit up a little bit, and that is not the play here. And look, we've actually got Gisborne here going across here from TV saying, "Okay, let's go." And this is the way to do it. Actually, go right on through them, and the rest of those A category riders are going to have to do the same. We do see Kolchinsky now making sure that she's not going to be dropped off from those A's as they come through at 8.5 watts per kilogram. That's going to ramp things up now. We are seeing it backing off to 45. Now the catch is made. Now the question is, how is this going to play out for the rest of the race? Are they going to get a little bit lazy in the legs here, or is it going to actually press on to make that catch? 22.2 kilometers here as the catch is also made with the C category here. It's C's and D's now at this point versus the A's and B's. This is kind of your classic chase race situation here as the lower two categories versus the upper two. It is 22.4, 20.9. Absolutely love to see this.
Yeah, this is great. This is these time gaps and joining the A's and E's has been a great move on WTRL's part, because this is just exactly what we want to see. Like you've said, Nathan, look at that little kind of, it's like a little Christmas crew, the greens and the reds there versus the blues and the yellows. And do you know what? I'm going to call it. I think the C's, I reckon they could take this to the line. You've only got 7 kilometers to go. I mean, that's not much for these guys to pull in, over about 1,500 meters. Oh, what do you think?
It depends on how hard this B category climbs into Titans Grove, honestly. I really do think it really depends on how much speed they take over the top and how much they take down toward Ocean Boulevard. I really think that that's going to be the telltale here, as we do see Endersby here from electricspirit.co at the back now. 45 kilometers per hour, 34 kilometers per hour over on the left-hand side with Miner.
They're on the hill.
climb. We'll see how many Ds can hang on. This will be the moment of truth for any Ds that have made this still. As Quadrelli here at 4.5, 4 watts per kilogram, 35 kilometers per hour. This is a solid last-ditch effort that's going to really ramp up for this C category. You know, we're starting to get to that moment where the section of course that the category ahead is on, you're starting to see that section in the distance as they're covering it, though.
Yeah.
They're about to take this right, and I don't know. It's still too tough to call here. 1.5 kilometers, that's a lot of distance to cover here. Again, as you said, there's not a lot of distance left. 6 kilometers, and have to close down a full one of those. I think you might be right. They might have pulled this off. This A category has to get moving. They can't be sitting around at this point.
No, and I think, do you reckon, I think this is almost what's happened in weeks we've seen. This group is, I mean, still running 49K now, but they're on a slight downhill. They've kind of spread across the road a little bit at the front, so they're not in as a faster formation. And it's almost like they've caught the bees and a little bit of motivation has kind of come out of the legs. They're sort of getting caught up in what we've seen in weeks past, where they make one catch and that's it. They feel great about it and kind of rest on their laurels a bit. Whereas the C's, I think they're almost thinking, you know, we're now leading the race. We've passed the Ds. We're at the actual front of the race. Let's maintain this. And that adds that other little bit of motivation. You know, you're already in the front. You just have to stay there, right? I mean, it's pretty hard. But these guys are hitting that downhill now. Oh, looks like about 1,300 meters between the two. So I don't know if this is pulling in fast enough. You know, it was 1,500 meters a little while back. They're pulling in 200 meters at a time. Not huge numbers, though, as we're seeing on those A's, another rider just going off the front. Looked like Paolo again, just trying to get some motivation in those legs. The C's here, they need to push. You know, they're just absolutely going to hit those tunnels. Once you know you hit the tunnels around Ocean Boulevard, that's where, you know, you sort of, you know, you're almost there. 24.7K. What have we got? About 4 kilometers to go, a little bit more. This is going to be tight.
It's going to be extremely tight, right to the line. And that's the funnest part of the best part of the chase races. It almost always is timed very well where it comes right down to the line between all 4 categories sometimes. This time, it's really just 2 packs versus each other. The A category now, this is going to be the moment of truth, I think, for them, is how incredibly quickly they come down this descent out of the Titans Grove turn, and whether or not they carry huge amounts of speed through into Ocean Boulevard. We need to see from this A category a lot of super tucks, 60 kilometers per hour plus. You can bring back massive amounts of time. Lots of distance being made up here. It looks like to me, though, they're not really pushing that 60 plus. We don't see a lot of super tucks here. We see a lot of resting, to be honest. At the front right now, I'm seeing this is not what they need. They need somebody to come through right now and hold this at 55 plus a single rider. There's no arrowhead at the front here. It's just stacked across the road.
Yeah, this is Paolo's getting a bit frustrated. I can see him putting a lot of messages out. He's saying use the draft, change positions at the front. I saw them saying tips at the beginning, which was quite good, which was push as hard as you can on the front until someone like with momentum passes you and then hop back in. But yeah, they need people to be out pushing hard. I mean, what are we looking at here with the C's? 25 to like 1,200 meters now, maybe? What, 1,100
meters?
Category
is already making the turn off of the descent and now onto the official Ocean Boulevard here. They're into that final 3 kilometers here at this point. 25.1, as you can see on the right-hand side. They've got a solid, oh man, this is just maybe too much. The speeds need to be almost sprint speeds at this point. Now we do see Daly, though. This is interesting, though. 2 kilometers faster going into the downhill. Can they get some super tucks rolling? Recovery later, we're seeing from Paolo with a couple of smiles coming through here, and I'd have to agree with him. If they want this today, it's got to be all in from this moment, just pushing off the front over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, 60K an hour now. They're looking good. There, it's 60K. There's 42K by the C's. I'm getting too excited here. I'm sort of messing up all my kilometers here. But looking at Case here, and they're pulling off the front again. The C's are getting nervous. They're starting to, they just can't disintegrate now. You know, we've talked about it before. In the last 2 kilometers, some people just want to go all in for the win. They can't. They've got to stay with the group. They can't start disintegrating now because they will get caught. You can see Paolo there saying, let's go all together. He's got the right idea. They are pushing 51k an hour versus 45, just at still 1100 meters though. 1k with 2k to go. I just don't think they're going to make it. I think the
you're not closing down 1k with 2k to go. There's just no world in which I think that could possibly happen with the way that the Seas are starting to fight a little bit with each other. That's only going to ramp up the speed for them at this point. And I think this is going to be a battle between the two categories, D and C for the win, and A's and B's for the win amongst themselves.
Yeah, it's looking pretty promising here. I did wear my blue T-shirt, so I've obviously put the charms on the C's that they will take it out, I think. We're just seeing now some riders going on some solo maneuvers, some B riders actually. So this is what I don't like to see, is that there were B riders going off from that A and B group. I mean, why weren't they doing that earlier? It's kind of, you've got to all put in huge amounts of energy throughout the whole race, not just save it to the end. Early attacks here from Quadrelli and Sidoti, Italian, battle of the Italians happening here at the front. They know that they've got this, I think. I think the C's know that they're going to take this overall win, and now they're going in for the individual wins to the line. I think a little bit too early here because it's 2 seconds back. I think that big group will catch them, and there's some sprint power there that I think we'll be able to take them. 11-year-old there, D rider, managed to hang on too from Scotland. Very good work.
It's going to be these two. It looks like the Italians off the front, though, for the win, perhaps. Now, the pack is starting to chase them down. Harmon looking to come across from the dirt team here. Sidoti now here, KCB4, giving a solid pull. Now it's going to be Quadrelli coming on through here. 4.5 watts per kilogram from him, trying to hold off this chasing pack, but it's going to be infinite suffering. Jay Case making it happen for the rest of the pack here, suffering on the front infinitely. It looks like 186 beats per minute here coming from Harmon, then the dirt team. Will these three hold off the rest of the pack?
Oh, this is phenomenal. I think, it is Great Britain versus two Italians there with a Aussie chasing him down. What an international flavor in this chase race. I think they'll hit this little downhill. The momentum of that group behind will chase them down, get on terms, and I think it'll be an all-out sprint from this pack. We'll start to see a couple of power-ups being dropped already. That's way too early. Now we'll start to see the sprints opening up. This is the time they do it at these bridges. People will open up with the timing, and there we go. I'm starting to see some orange numbers already coming out in Pelly there, the Australian, coming through pretty early. Look at that position already, looking fantastic, but infinite suffering obviously has not suffered enough, comes in second. But Pelly there from Australia takes out the win in the chase race from the C's, picked it from the beginning. Great job, C's. And we've got the B's and the A's. Looks like they're chilling out along the road, waiting for the sprint.
Yeah, super chill at this point, as they know that will not be the catch. So now everybody just spread out across the road, catching a few of these C cat. Actually, I think there's an A or B category off the front. It's going to be Nuches here for the Sox for Watts team off the front, giving a little bit of a go. Says goodbye, everybody, and sneaking off the front. He's not going to be caught. There's no way. It's just not happening. 12 watts per kilogram, team type 1 here, wow. 10 seconds back. This is over, and this A category rider just takes it out. Nice helmet.
Yeah, that's the new Nyokyo helmet. He's got the Nyokyo shoes. I'm sure it doesn't look great with the red kit, I've got to say, but probably looks good when he doesn't have that on. And looks like Abildskov there coming in for second with a great sprint. One of the A crew. So, yeah, that was
the better of Paulo there, interesting enough. That was a solid sprint there coming from the B category rider.
Well, I mean, Paolo put in a lot of work at the front during that whole race, as well as typing on screen during almost the entire thing. So he's used a lot of energy in rallying the troops, which I like to see. Rider of the day, I think I would give to Paolo, just for the amount he pushed that A group to stay together and work so well.
This was the win, as we do see Pelly here able to hold off the hard-charging KVTJ coming out of the Netherlands. Emmett Jones, it looks like, able to come through for third. The interesting suffering from Case there was the next rider. And then, as we did see in the A category, it was Nuches off the front with a solid attack, able to hold off the hard-charging rest of the pack. This was for the sprint between the A's and the B's, not for the win. Follow trying to hold off at 14 watts per kilogram, unable to do so, as it will be. That was interesting, actually. What did that end up being between all of these riders here? The rider out of Denmark, a solid kick to the line, but did Paulo hold off Jay Alexander from WLC? Yes, he did. Followed up by Bauer and then Jurgensen. It looks like Reichardt was in there as well. He had a solid day. I saw him on the front, the KC rider, a whole bunch, doing a ton of work for the A's and the B's. But it wasn't to be. I predicted the A's. I was wrong. You, that was a pretty nice. Again, wearing the right shirt. It's the shirt.
I know. Yeah.
Saw her snowpin.
See what I wear next week
for the CCAT. Oh, it's good.
I'm gonna have to find some different colored shirts. I'm not sure if I've got a red. I have to find a red shirt. Might be an old Christmassy one lying around.
It would have to be a disappearing green. We'll just have the Anna bobblehead.
And
that will be it. That will be all there is to it. For all of our gaps and results, you can head over to WTRL.racing as well as over to Zwift Power. If you want to sign up for the chase races for the rest of the day, there are some more to jump into. Head on over to WTRL.racing. Make an account over there if you've never done so before. To jump into chase racing, jump into TTTs. You can find a team over there. The Zwift Racing League is coming at you. Season 2 for the 2021-22 year. This is going to be heating up into world championships. We've got so much going on when it comes to esports here, Anna. Are you, is it time to just wipe the whiteboard and start new, or do you have everything connected? Like, what's happening over there in the mad scientist lab over there?
Oh, yeah, I've been looking a bit of Zwift Insider. There's a lot of bike changes, which I've been trying to keep ahead of. I've unfortunately just been spending way too many drops and now can't get the bikes that I want to get. I've been spending a long time, way too long, getting my Tron just the right color, just that kind of purple with the little pink on the wheels. So I've been spending a while doing that. But other than that, I'm just getting back into a ton of racing because I'm back into ZRL week 2 to head out. I'm DSing week 1, but yeah, there's a lot of racecraft. People, yeah, I'm in the season. I'm in there. I've been rickying a few courses, and that Climbers Gambit one is going to be brutal. I've got to say, I've rickied that a couple of times, as well as the Temples and Towers, a new Makuri Islands one. That is rad. I'm loving that one, actually. It's probably one of my favorites now.
I just did that course.
Yeah,
I raced that.
Yeah, what did you think?
Yeah, that's an amazing course. There's lots. That Temples and Towers course, when you're in Nyokyo, there wasn't too much opportunity, it didn't feel like, but it definitely put some sting in the legs for sure. But when you hit the temples, those downhills are so extreme and the ups are intense enough that you can really cause some issues for anybody. We actually dropped a couple of riders on the downhill that they were trying to hang on, and they thought they were going to stick with, and we just kept pressing the pace, and they ended up losing a couple of seconds too many times, and boom, they were way over threshold. Game over. Yeah. So that's going to be an interesting course.
Yeah, so I'm super pumped for that. I'm pretty excited. We're looking at the Prem teams, who's racing what. We've got a very strong Prem team heading in. So, yeah, I'm excited. I mean, what have we got? It's Jan 10th, the Prems hit out. I mean, we're looking at under 2 weeks now. So, yeah, so exciting. Like you said, World Champs, the TTT's happening. Alp to Zwift tomorrow. I mean, yeah, it's full noise. I love it.
Just as a heads up, we will not be covering the Alp to Zwift TTT tomorrow. Just simply because there's just a reality. We'd just be watching avatars, maybe spread across an entire hill, not really doing much TTT. You are just going to kind of hang out with your buddies at a steady watt per kilogram to the top of the climb is most likely what's going to be happening. I might jump in and stream it myself. We'll see. But not here on ZCL. We'll be back after the new year then next week, ramping up into ZRL Season 2. I do know there are some features as well jumping into World of Zwift that we've been working on, so make sure to check out all things over on the Zwift main YouTube page. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks, Anna, for the comms. It's been lots of fun. Again, WTRL.racing for everything for the top end of racing out on Zwift. Make sure to hit those follow buttons, subscribe, comment, like, do all those things. Helps us the channel, and you'll get notifications then every time we go live. As always, everybody, thanks for tuning in, and ride on.